What do you think?
I think we're dead meat. Real dead meat.
You're dead meat! Go ahead and laugh, you guys. If I ever find a little bastards that did this, they're dead meat.
Welcome to the Dead Meat Podcast, an extension of the YouTube channel Dead Meat. I'm James.
I'm Chelsea, and we're boyfriend and girlfriend, and we like to get scared together.
And watch crazy 80s exploitation movies together.
Oh boy. Today we're going to talk about Basket Case.
Hell yeah.
Which, man, is it the most low budget thing we've watched so far?
I don't know, dude.
It's hard to say, I guess.
I don't know what Toxic Avengers budget was like. I'm actually wearing a Toxic Avengers shirt because I feel like it's the closest thing I have to what this movie is.
Yeah.
It's schlocky. It's gritty. It's less. I don't know.
It's got a trauma kind of feel.
It's a little
to
trauma.
it.
A little trauma. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's as outwardly disgusting as trauma intentionally is.
Yeah.
That's not a knock against trauma.
No, that's what they're
That's what they
going
want.
for, yeah.
But Basket Case still has ridiculous moments in it. Ridiculous effects. It's very, very low budget, like you said. Mm-hmm. But it's like a cult film.
I read somewhere that the part where the main character checks into the hotel near the beginning, he has that giant wad of cash.
Yeah.
I saw somewhere that was the film's budget.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised
They had to shoot
either.
that
I won't
shot
say
first.
that's true. That could just be a story that got
apocryphal.
embellished, but yes.
So yeah, Basket Case came out in 1982 by director and writer Frank Henenlotter. He's a exploitation director.
Mm-hmm.
Is how he self-described. That's what he would prefer to be known as.
Yeah, he has said himself he prefers to be known as an exploitation filmmaker as opposed to horror. And I think because he specifically makes movies that are based on very specific things, because that's what an exploitation film is it's taking a thing, like a niche or a topic or something very specific and just like going off of that. So the slasher is a genre of exploitation films.
Oh yeah? Mm-hmm. I never thought about that. Mm-hmm. Huh. Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, for me, it's exploitation films has always kind of been a little bit nebulous, a little bit hard to define. For me, it feels like you need this kind of low budget schlockiness aspect to it.
Yeah, I think an exploitation film has to be a B movie grade thing to be an exploitation film.
Yeah, and he described it himself as films that delve into subject material that mainstream movies wouldn't necessarily. Right. And he cites like sex and drugs and rock and roll. And, of course, mainstream movies do get into that stuff, but maybe with a little more polish.
And that's why theorists, like we talk about her all the time, but Carol Clover, that's why in her research on horror, she says she really preferred to watch exploitation films and kind of study them because they're movies that do stuff that mainstream film isn't, and that it gets looked over in that way. So it's worth studying that little area of film that people kind of gloss over as not being important.
Yeah. And with films like this, I mean, the thing that stands out from Basket Case for me mostly is its authenticity.
Oh, yes.
This is set in New York City in 1982.
It's disgusting.
It's so gross.
Love it.
It's so good.
Honestly, I think one of my favorite eras and styles of horror is low budget 70s, maybe early 80s. This is early 80s. But,
yeah, we said while watching this could take place
good.
anywhere from 78 to 82.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like its own section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love exploitation films. I think Beyond the Valley of the Dolls would be like an exploitation film.
Oh yeah, that was like 60s, right? Like late 60s, early 70s. Its own totally separate era.
Over the top. Yes. So this was right up my alley. I loved this movie.
I just like comparing this movie to Jason Takes Manhattan, which came out in 1988. So it's still 80s New York, although late 80s is a little different than early 80s. But it was filmed in Vancouver, and it looks like a fake 80s New York film. Whereas this is like, no, this is really it, man.
If you aren't aware, so if you think of New York now, And if you've only, been to New York now, it's nice. Manhattan's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's super commercial.
It's very desirable.
And consumer
real estate
culture.
Yes.
But
the 80s, 70s, and 80s,
and 90s
there were
probably.
Maybe I think the 90s was getting a
starting
little
to turn
better.
around,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I think the 70s and 80s, so many murders.
Oh, yeah.
So many murders. I mean, the 70s, I think, is when you have Son of Sam running around. So people just getting shot. No one can figure out who's doing it. Tons of, I think, gang violence and
It's
just.
probably got a similar reputation as to Chicago today.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so. Yep.
So just imagine that.
Yes.
That's where we're at with this movie, 1982 New York. And I had watched this movie once before because it's on Shudder. And so I just threw it on and watched it. And I had enjoyed it, even though I was kind of working while I was doing it. But I was excited to show you this because you said you love this. I knew you would.
Yeah, I love it.
I fucking knew you
This is
would.
exactly my style. I could watch movies like this all day, every day. I fucking love it. The shittier, the better. And I mean shitty but earnest is really important to me. This is
Yeah.
a very earnestly made movie, and that's what makes it work.
And
so
it's
well.
not trying to be shitty.
Nope,
That's the
it's trying.
biggest-
They're trying to make a movie
Yep.
on the most shoestring budget, and I adore it so much.
There's an ocean of difference between something like this and Sharknado, which is my
Yes.
go-to example of a movie that tries to be so bad
And
it's good, but
that's-
it sucks.
I can't.
Because you can see the money behind it. You can see the effort
To make a bad movie.
Yeah. Whereas this is effortlessly bad.
It's so great. It's so great. I think movies like this where they're shitty, you really it's weird. As much as the characters in movies like this are not acting like real people, just they don't talk like real people talk. Everyone's line delivery is out of control. You can still you get such a glimpse of the very real people making this. It's
Yeah.
weird.
And all the extras in this movie are just
Yes,
plucked
the extras
off the
are-
streets of New York. They're not actors. Those are real
Those
people.
are just real people. It's so great. I love it. So yeah, in that way, even though the characters are so outlandish and not realistic at all, it almost makes it easier to see the realism of the people making this thing. It's weird. It's a weird dynamic to kind of describe, but I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Yeah.
So we've basically talked about this movie in a very abstract sort of way, but I guess we could start to talk about the more specifics. But I recommend you go watch this.
I say go watch it. This is
Yeah.
a recommend for sure.
Yeah, and then come back and listen to the rest of this.
I think most movies we've reviewed at this point are recommends. I can only think of a couple that haven't been. The Wicker Man remake, don't bother.
Yeah, watch the supercut.
And maybe that's it.
Cry Wolf, you probably don't need to see.
I guess.
is
I have
my
a soft
personal
spot
opinion.
for it.
That's fine though. I actually, honestly, no matter what the movie is, I always for stuff like this, for podcasts that we emulate, I always think it's preferable to see the movie just so you can compare your own observations to what we're talking about, see if we match up, see
Yeah.
if we missed anything that you did.
You said this is on Shudder.
This is on Shudder.
This episode sponsored by Shudder.
That's right.
We'll talk about that later when we have an ad break. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Shudder.
Yeah, but you can watch this real easy.
So we start. There's a guy. He's in he's kind of a businessman looking dude. He's 80s businessman almost.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in his front yard. Hears a noise outside in the woods outside of his front yard. So he runs back inside and he goes to call the police. And a shadow. When I was writing these notes, I thought, oh my God, that's right. A shadow cuts the power lines and the phone cables.
It's like the phone cable. You see it, and then you see a shadow reach up. And I guess the implication is that the thing casting the shadow cuts the line, but the line breaks from where the shadow is.
Where the shadow does it. So I was confused
She was
thinking
very
about it
confused.
later.
Yeah.
Because I thought that would be explained. but
No.
it's not.
Oh,
it looks
God,
like in
no.
Peter Pan when his shadow is doing
Yeah,
stuff.
They could have done that.
It's so bizarre.
Also,
Anyway.
fun fact, we're watching this on the Blu-ray and not a bootleg Blu-ray. This is the official, all three movies, because there are two more of these that I haven't seen, all in a Blu-ray. No subtitles.
Nope, not
No,
available.
no.
It's funny. I like watching movies with subtitles on. I'm glad that now people are very open about liking to watch movies with subtitles. If that's a thing that a lot of people do, I thought I was weird.
Yeah.
But, I feel like it's a 50-50 chance the movies that we review, if they're going to have subtitle tracks or not. This one did not.
Yeah. So he gets out his desk gun, as everyone has, and he's just shooting wildly.
Lots of desk guns in horror. Bon Jovi had a desk gun in Cry Wolf.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a convenient place to put your gun. Mm-hmm. And this guy's holding this tiny little gun with his two hands and just shooting at whatever shooting wildly.
Yeah. And then we see a hand from the bottom of the frame reach up and grab his face.
Yeah.
He attacks him.
It's one of those where it's like, how'd you not see that? But this guy gets his face mauled.
Yeah.
And he's killed. And blood splatters on a folder that he has.
Yep.
Yep.
Important folder for later.
Yeah. That was a cold open. Yay, now it's 80s New York.
Yeah, cold open. Yes, we cut to 80s Times Square.
The one shot of Times Square. They got that and got the fuck out of there.
Dude, so you can actually read the original script for this movie on hotelbroslin.com, which is the hotel in this movie.
That's amazing.
The opening was originally a bunch of shots of the main character getting off the train, going through the transit center, and no. We can't afford.
No, we get an empty shot of Times Square and then him walking down the street.
Yes,
walking down the street in front of 1,000 porn shops.
So many porn theaters. Also, a giant Casio watch ad in case you forgot what year it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, lots of porn theaters in New York, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's not like they made that up for the movie.
No, they didn't make anything up for this movie.
No.
They put their cast members out there and they put a camera there and that was it.
Yeah.
So this kid, Duane Bradley, he's a real doe-eyed little boy.
He looks like Harry Styles, I think. I think we gotta remake this Harry Styles.
Oh my God. Will he do the full frontal at the end too?
Oh my God. Honestly.
Duane Bradley hangs dong at the end.
Yeah,
of this
there's
movie.
dong in this. Stick around.
Yeah.
We promise. We're not gonna be able to put it in the video version, but we'll describe it for you.
Yeah, it's floppy.
Yeah, it's a
That's
floppy
the description
dong.
of it.
No, get Harry Styles, and this will be we'll kind of revamp it so it's a really artsy remake of this.
Okay.
It's his first nude appearance on film. All the awards.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah.
This kid he's what, like 20 years old probably?
Real
young.
He's young.
He, walking down the street with a basket in his hands, a big old wicker basket.
Yeah, it's like a big picnic basket. It's like a Yogi Bear picnic basket.
For
it's
sure.
like a cartoon.
And he goes into a Hotel Broslin.
Yes, the Hotel Broslin.
The dirty fucking Hotel Broslin.
The nastiest looking hotel.
Yeah.
And
just seeing this makes me like, I would never want to stay in this kind of hotel ever in my life.
No, it is. It's a hotel you only see in movies about someone trying to make it in a big city, and it goes poorly at first. And for some reason, the only reference point I can think of is Zootopia. Do you remember? She moves to the city and she moves into basically this exact apartment, but in Zootopia.
No, I was thinking Venture Brothers.
Venture Brothers
Dean
too,
goes
yeah.
To intern in New York. There's a great conversation between the hotel manager, who's awesome, by the way.
Yes.
And the people sitting in like the lobby before Duane comes in there.
Wait a minute, didn't he get run over?
It was suicide. He hailed a cab. When it pulled up to the curb, he jumped in front of it.
Get out of here, you're full of crap.
Harry Styles is going to stay there. Night by night, it's $20 a night, which we did the math. Inflation would be $50 a night nowadays. Which seems like a lot.
That's a lot to stay.
This piece of shit.
For something that's shitty, but also staying there for an extended period of time.
Because he's going to be living there.
Yeah, what was the monthly rent? We calculated it was like $1,400.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Like that. That's a lot
for basically a studio apartment.
You by yourself?
Yes, alone, by myself.
All alone in this cold, cruel world.
This lady takes Duane to his room and she tells him this story about the woman who used to live there and how she would brag about how wealthy she was and no one believed her. But one day she came down to the lobby with a bunch of jewels and furs and then just left.
And then the lady telling that story just leaves.
Just stops telling the story, turns around and leaves. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's very awkward and great.
Then one day, she appeared in the lobby dressed in furs and jewels, said she was leaving to tour the world. She paid her bill and left. No one's heard from her since.
So after he gets settled in, Duane gets a ton of fast food.
And there are these burgers that are so fucking gross. They're just buns and then like this thin gray patty of meat in between them. Nothing else.
They're McDonald's burgers.
No.
They're like
McDonald's
old
burgers
McDonald's
would have like ketchup or mustard or pickle or onions or something on it.
Oh, but
this is just like a thin puck of meat between two. This is the production assistant ran out.
I think that's what happened.
Yeah,
they
got
went
a bunch
just
of buns,
meat, and that's it.
and they probably only got like 2 meat patties. The rest are probably just buns stuck together that he like dumps into this basket to feed whatever's in the basket.
Yeah.
And it's hungry. It's eating it all. It's shaking the basket around.
Yeah.
And it's even eating them without unwrapping the foil from them. So what's in the basket? Mm-hmm. We also see that Duane has the bloody folder from the opening of the movie.
Yes.
So he was in some way involved.
So this is when we learn that the person who died in the beginning was a doctor.
Doctor. Well, that guy said it when he called. He was like, "This is Dr. Lifflander calling for
got
someone
it.
else," because he tried to call the
Dr.
police.
Lifflander, and that's the folder that Duane now has.
Yeah, and Duane mentions, "Oh, this one other doctor isn't in here, but that's okay. Needleman will have her name." Also, there's a hair in the gate.
Hair in the gate. Hair in the gate. A hair in the gate is so the gate is where
The gate is a part of the camera.
yeah, it's where light it's where the film when it passes through gets exposed to light coming in. So that's where you get your image. Hair in the gate is when you have film when the film is rolling through there, you'll sometimes get celluloid shredded apart in there. You'll get like edges of celluloid stuck in there. So it's not actually hair.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's like
I
just
thought it
a
was
hair.
literally a
It's
hair.
like, no, it looks like hair when it's
Yeah.
in there, but it's just a very tiny sliver of celluloid.
Oh.
So that's, yeah. So
and that's getting imprinted onto the film.
it's just,
as
yeah,
being
it's just
filmed.
sitting in there. So it's, yeah, exactly. It's getting
Yeah.
imprinted onto the film.
Yep. So that's fun. Always a good sign.
There's a lot of that happening in this.
Yeah, just little blemishes in the film. It makes it so fun.
I mean, that's how you know they had to shoot this so fast too, because normally you would call the AD, the assistant director would call for someone to check the gate. You get the gate checked, so that doesn't happen. But this, no, man, we gotta go.
You gotta
They probably
go,
don't
man.
have an AD for this.
Yeah, because that happens at night when Duane's trying to sleep, but he just wakes up and starts yelling, like, "Stop it! Stop trying to talk to me!"
Yeah.
And your first time through, you're like, "What the
What
fuck's
the
going on?"
fuck?
Turns out he's communicating telepathically.
Yeah, he can hear whatever the thing in the basket is saying, but then he has to talk back
Yeah,
to the thing in the
it's
basket.
a one-way telepathic conversation.
Right.
I'm not going to debate this. Now, good night.
That greedy dude from the lobby is spying on Duane through the door, and we meet one of the best characters.
Casey.
You know, I can't stand to see somebody get ripped off, especially without a fighting chance. My name's Casey.
We love Casey.
Yeah, she's a sex worker apparently. 'Cause
Yes.
When Duane went up to his room, he saw her taking a client into her room. She laughed, or she smiled at him. Mm-hmm. She's a jolly lady.
Yeah. Casey's nice. She shoos this guy away who's trying to spy on Duane's room. Also, we noticed around here that the lighting in this movie, depending on what location they're at.
It's a lot at the hotel.
Yeah, I think the hotel, they probably didn't have much time to shoot, or they weren't even given permission to shoot at parts of this hotel. So they just have a big spotlight, big floodlight, and then that's it. And
Yeah,
you can
just
tell
this
it's
very
someone just
hard light.
aiming a big light at everyone.
He like very
great.
hard shadows
It's
behind
so
them. And yeah, so she's a nice lady. She tells Duane like, "Hey, look out for yourself."
Yeah.
Yeah. Duane goes to a doctor's office.
Yes, this is Dr. Needleman's office.
Yeah, this is after a shot of the skyline of New York that is just grainy as all hell.
I think they found that footage somewhere.
Yeah, and just like used it.
Yeah.
I don't think they could afford that skyline
Nope.
shot. But yeah, he goes to this Dr. Needleman's office and is talking to the receptionist.
Good Lord, Sharon. Sharon's the receptionist.
That's the thing, though. we saw her name in the credits. I don't remember ever
I
hearing her
don't
name
either.
in this
I don't know
movie.
if we ever learned her name.
Yeah, maybe I missed the line, but I don't remember ever hearing this lady's name.
No.
But she's like the second biggest character after Duane.
She's yeah.
Yeah, she's like the love interest.
Sharon is wearing a very bad wig and is complaining about having typewriter problems.
Yeah, she thinks Duane is there to fix the typewriter.
Yeah.
Her description of the noise it makes.
Yesterday it was squeaking, like if a mouse was caught inside. Real high-pitched, like...
I don't know anything about typewriters.
Like there's
That just took me so off guard.
it's such a close up on her too.
Yes, it's such an extreme close-up of her face.
And then they're just talking about what he's done in town.
Oh, man. They have the most Tommy Wiseau-esque conversation about New York City, going to see the sights in New York. Here, let's read. We should read this scene
Okay.
together.
Are you gonna be?
I'll be Sharon.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Just visiting New York, or?
Yes, this is my first time.
So have you gone to the Empire State Building yet and the Statue of Liberty?
No, I haven't had time.
Haven't had the time? What about Radio City Music Hall or the United Nations? Had time for them?
Had time for them?
It's great. It's also like, oh, she's one of those New Yorkers. It's like, oh, let me tell you all the cool things about my city.
No, that's not what a New Yorker's not going to be like. Have you gone to the Empire State Building? That's like a cool place I know about.
Yeah, there's a little
Radio City Music Hall.
Oh man, it's a wonderful conversation. It's one of the best scenes in the movies, just these two talking to each other, and apparently it's enough to make them fall in love.
Yeah.
Because she is throwing herself at him.
Oh yeah.
She's like hint.
I mean, she has to hang out with Dr. Needleman all day.
Yeah, that guy looks like Steve Buscemi.
He does. I was convinced for a second it was.
You literally thought
I
it
did.
was.
I looked. I was like, I thought maybe it was a young Steve Buscemi.
It looks like Steve Buscemi took those burgers that they had earlier and squeezed the grease out of them onto the top of his head, and that's Dr. Needleman.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Needleman's great. I think
awesome
he's
too.
legitimately really good.
I can't tell if he's a pervert because the way he tells Duane to step into the other room and take his shirt off.
He gives him a weird.
Then he stares him down.
It's weird.
And I'm not sure if the implication is that this dude's a little, I don't know.
Yeah, Duane gets undressed and he gets a checkup, and we see that his side is all scarred up.
Yeah, his whole side is just a scar.
Yep. And Duane has been lying this whole time about who he is. He doesn't want Dr. Needleman to know that he's Duane. He makes up a name.
No. He doesn't want Dr. Needleman to know that he's Duane Bradley. He makes up a name, Duane Smith.
Oh,
he
is
still
that what he
uses the name
does?
Duane.
All right.
Yep.
And his excuse is, I'm a friend of his and I want to surprise him, so don't write down my real name. I don't know. So then when he comes back out, Sharon asks, oh, was he surprised?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Very.
But it's so funny because, like, apparently he showed him his scar and then was like, all right, see you later. I guess he did tell him that Dr. Lifflander's dead, cut in half.
Yes.
Because later we see Dr. Needleman calling up this third doctor. What is it? Cutter?
Dr. Cutter, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like freaking out because he's like, yo, Cutter, this kid came to me. He's from Glens Falls. He's 20 years old. And he has a scar on his side. And he told me that Lifflander's dead. And Cutter is she's a doctor, and she
reminds me of Sigourney Weaver.
If Sigourney Weaver couldn't act.
Yes, and also had a very bad wig. All the women in this have wigs. I don't know why.
She's having dinner with a real
With a
young
really
looking
young
dude.
guy.
And she is feeding him wine. And he's like, no, I don't want any more. And she's like, no, keep drinking.
Yeah, I like it when you're drunk.
Yeah, because he gets the food and he's like, oh, this looks delicious. And she's like, just like you.
It's very weird. And then after she hangs up the phone, she basically tells Needleman to fuck off. She doesn't care. That
She's like,
Lifflander's
we don't
dead.
know each other. This isn't real. Shut up.
Yep. Bye. So we know there's some
Conspiracy.
doctor conspiracy. And then she hangs up and says to this dude, sorry about that, Cuddles. Ew.
Yeah, that's some gross shit, man.
Sorry about that, Cuddles. Now, where were we?
Duane heads back with the basket to Dr. Needleman's office. It's nighttime.
Yeah.
And he drops the creature off and just says, go for it.
It's after Sharon leaves. And so he's like, okay, he's in there alone. Go, get in there. Don't forget the phone book or whatever.
Dr. Needleman realizes that his...
Oh, yeah, because he walks out and he sees the door off the hinge.
Yes.
Like, we don't see this door get knocked off.
No,
They had to
no.
unscrew
They
the
had
door
to-
and
then,
set it at an angle.
Oh, man, that all makes sense.
Yeah.
Because we figured watching this, all the scenes in this doctor's office are when there's actual lighting.
Yeah, there's like blue
there's color
gels.
schemes and everything looks really cool. And we think that someone's family member was a doctor and they let them use this office. And that's why you don't see the door get kicked in or busted down, because they just had to be careful and unscrew the door.
Yeah,
and
Needleman
lay it.
walks in and just sees the door
That's
laying
so
at an
funny.
angle and is like, oh no.
That's so funny.
He
Yeah,
runs-
it's just someone's uncle's office. They can't fuck up the doors in there.
He runs back into his office and barricades the door with his desk. But the door he's barricading
It
opens outward.
We rewound to check. So
He's putting the desk in front of a door frame in which the door opens the other way. Someone would open the door and just look at the desk and climb over
yeah,
it.
he's basically just building an obstacle course for whoever's out there. We finally see Belial.
It's Belial.
Belial is the thing in the basket. He looks like Bib Fortuna from Star Wars.
His face.
His face
Just
does.
his face.
It's just and Bib Fortuna's Jabba's
Major Domo.
Major Domo.
They Jabba no bother.
It basically looks like that dude's head, and if the things on his head were arms instead of the things.
Yeah.
If you don't know what Bib Fortuna looks like, this description not at all helpful.
But yeah, he looks like a wad of gum with arms.
With two arms coming out and a face on the front.
Yeah.
It's gross and awesome.
It veers between prosthetic and puppet, and later on we'll get a little bit of stop motion.
Oh man, I love the stop motion.
Yes,
I
but
love
Belial,
it
I fucking
so
love Belial.
much. I love
looked online
Belial.
for a toy to get of Belial to add to this.
They don't
Hard to
really
find,
exist.
man.
Damn.
There was one that didn't really look like him.
The closest thing you have is the ghoulie.
Yeah, I got a little ghoulie in a toilet, and Belial ends up in a toilet
He
at one
does,
point too,
yeah.
but it's not the same.
Not the same.
I want Belial.
Hey everyone, really quick, we just want to talk about our sponsor for this episode, AMC's Shudder.
Hell yeah, I love talking about Shudder. It's so easy to talk about Shudder, dude, because I use it frequently. In fact, one of the earliest uses I had with it was to watch the movie that we're reviewing today, Basket Case.
Yeah, we didn't even plan that.
No, I watched it long ago
Yeah.
on Shudder, and I believe it's still up there for you to watch right now.
Yep. So Shudder is a premium streaming video service for fans of horror of all kinds. They have so much stuff on there. There's a whole Shudder community where you can share reviews and opinions about the movies that you watch.
There's a Shudder subreddit too.
Perfect.
Like devoted to Shudder and like talking about what's on there. I love this service, man. It's so great to have a streaming service specifically tailored for horror movies.
Yeah, because it's
so awesome.
curated by horror fans and
Yeah, that's the thing is one of the more recent things I did on Shudder was I wanted to watch a random movie, so I went to their curators. They're like guest curators, and they've got a lot of fun ones. That Barbara Crampton has been there.
That's cool.
Kumail Nanjiani has given his like favorite movie. I went all the way back to the beginning of their first guest curator. It was Graham Skipper, who we had just met when we did our live stream with the Haunters crew at Mystic Museum. So we literally had just met him, so I checked out what he was recommending, and one of his movies was Beyond the Black Rainbow, which is the previous film made by the dude who did Mandy, which everyone keeps talking about now, that thriller with Nicolas Cage. So I watched Beyond the Black Rainbow on Shudder.
That's a crazy movie.
That's a crazy movie, man.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about Shudder is it's so cool. It doesn't just have like the mainstream stuff that's like can get boring. It's got such deep dives of horror, man.
Yeah, and that stuff's hard to find sometimes because you'll get more indie horror that it's genuinely hard to find home releases of them.
Yeah, but Shudder's got them, and
got 'em.
they got a whole lot of stuff coming out. They just came out with an Alfred Hitchcock collection.
That's cool.
Whole bunch of Hitchcock films. And yeah, like maybe that's a thriller or like the horror genre is not what it is without Alfred Hitchcock.
Come on, guys.
So
it's
go watch those
horror.
movies and see like the roots of the genre, man.
Yeah, Creepshow 2 apparently is available. It's exclusively available on Shudder.
Oh man.
So if you are interested in trying out Shudder free for 30 days, go to shudder.com/podcast and use the promo code DeadMeat30.
That's right. And Shudder is SHUDDER.
Yeah,
It's
not
that kind of Shudder.
Not like the window shutters.
Nope. More like, ooh, something's creepy
Shudders.
here. Ooh.
Woo.
Like think Shaggy and Scooby.
Yes.
That kind of Shudder. And
Exactly.
that promo code is DeadMeat30. You can watch
DeadMeat30.
so many movies in 30 days. So do it, especially right now. Everyone's doing their October 31 scary movies thing, watching a horror movie every day.
Movie a day?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Go do that on Shudder because they got you covered.
Yeah.
But yeah, Belial kills this guy.
Is he screaming yet, or is that later?
He might be screaming a little, but it's not.
It's
like
not full
Scream
on.
Central,
Well,
yeah.
okay.
But this dude ends up getting cut in half, which is cool. I think Duane comes across his body.
There's
or maybe we
there's
just see his body.
fun gore in this. I mean, it's just splatter blood.
Yeah, lots
everywhere.
of bright red blood.
Yes.
Yeah, and he gets torn in half.
Yep. So R.A.P. Needleman.
Mm-hmm. He's dead.
Barely knew you. I was sad he was gone that early because I liked him.
Yeah, he's fun and slimy.
Yeah. Next morning, Belial's back at the hotel room with Duane, and Belial's getting hot dogs for breakfast. Just hot dogs, like straight from the wrapper, just being dumped in that basket. It's disgusting.
Oh yeah, not like cooked hot dogs in buns.
No.
It's like a pack of cold hot
Oh,
dogs.
it's so gross.
And he gets a TV.
Yes,
Duane got him a
Duane
TV.
says, I got you a present. And it's a TV because Duane has a hot date.
Yep, with
today.
Sharon at the Statue of Liberty. I think
Yeah.
they're actually there, right?
Yeah, the like park kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're by
Good for them.
shooting on location. Yeah, just going to a cool spot and only
Couldn't
New
do that
Yorkers
now.
would know about. Yeah, right.
Couldn't just walk up to the Statue of Liberty and shoot your shitty exploitation film there now,
no
man.
Way.
No, sir.
Way. Oh, there's more hair stuck in the gate. I kept track of how many times it happens.
Good.
Yeah, so Duane and Sharon are on their date. Sharon's got her bad wig on. She just is complaining about how she wants to take her boots off, and I just thought, Sharon's a cosplayer. Like, that is me cosplaying. I have a wig on, and I want to take my shoes off. And that's all I can talk about. They start kissing each other, and it's the worst.
Holy shit.
It's disgusting. They just start eating each other's faces.
Yeah, that
It's-
is some open mouths there. I don't think the jaws can extend any further.
You
than
can
what's
tell
going on
it's
here.
very awkward and uncomfortable for
Mm-hmm.
these two to just be kissing.
Or maybe they both are having a good time. They're just bad at it.
Yeah, could be. Could be.
But while that's happening, this is the screaming.
This is it.
Because remember, they have a telepathic connection of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
So Belial, I guess, is getting upset that Duane is off with someone else.
Yeah, because Duane, up to this point, I don't think he's ever really left Belial alone. I think he's just always with him.
Yeah, but now he's trying to get his dick wet. And
Yeah.
Belial senses that and fucking freaks out, dude.
This is probably the best part of this movie.
Yeah, this is the scene that I remember when I was watching it, like on the side, like just captivated me and was like, this is a great movie.
Yeah.
Like this cements it for me.
I want to just have a little Belial scream
Okay.
together, and you
Scream.
can scream along with us
Everyone's got something to scream about.
because it's been rough lately out there, and I thought we could all just join Belial and have a cathartic scream for like a few seconds.
Sure.
You ready?
Yeah.
That's what Belial sounds like.
Yeah. Make sure you put in a clip to see they can compare how we did.
Oh, I will. I'm gonna edit that.
Yeah.
Belial is throwing stuff around. He throws the TV on the ground. This is when we get some stop motion, and
It's
it's
some stop motion Belial.
incredible.
It looks awful.
It
and
looks
it's amazing.
like shit, and it's so cool.
And it cuts from that to prosthetic arms close-ups of prosthetic arms moving things. Like he'll stop motion over to the corner of the bed and then cut to prosthetic arms lifting up the bed and then cut to stop motion bed flying across the room.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
It's so great.
He is screaming nonstop this entire time.
He screams for a few minutes straight.
I cannot
and we were
emphasize how
crying
much he's screaming.
laughing. It's so funny.
It's clipping. It's
Yep,
overmodulated.
the sound is all over the place. It got so loud at one point.
Yeah.
We both scrambled for the remote because I was afraid we were gonna wake up our neighbors. It was so loud.
Speaking of neighbors, all the neighbors in the hotel, you see them popping their heads out and being like, what the hell's going on up there?
My favorite is this happens a few times in this movie.
Yeah,
where
this is a number of times.
Something goes on in Duane's room. It's Belial doing some shit. Someone starts screaming, and all the neighbors come by, and it seems like it's a different set of neighbors every time. But there's also some regulars, so I'm not really sure what.
Also, every single time it happens, we see the hotel manager lift up his little like desk partition and walk out of it.
Same shit
It's
as
like
always.
5 shots of this guy just like
this
like I love this dude so much.
He
the
is
hotel manager.
every single person in this hotel is a Tim and Eric character.
Yeah.
A Tim and Eric actor that they got from Craigslist.
Except for the one dude who has like a skull cap on and it looks like he's trying to get in the frame in the background of every shot, and he looks like a background character in Kevin Smith movies that would pop up in the background of each View Askew Universe movie, and you'd be like, oh, it's that guy.
Yeah. The best extra in this particular scene is the lady with curlers who I don't even know what is going on. She just has a 1,000-yard stare and we couldn't stop looking at her.
There's Scott Adsit running around in a pink bathrobe.
Yes, this dude who looks exactly like Scott Adsit.
And he has this like pink bathrobe that only goes down to like mid-thigh. And he's always wearing it. I never see him.
Oh, man, so good.
Mm-hmm.
One of the dudes, isn't it the same guy from the beginning who was spying on Duane's room?
Yeah.
He picks the lock of Duane's room and steals that fat stack of cash that is allegedly the movie's actual budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He takes that.
But Belial attacks him first. And I guess that dude, crawls back to his room and dies there?
Well, Belial attacks him, and while he's fending off Belial on his face, he like stumbles out into the hallway and back into his own room.
He just has Belial prosthetic on him and is like, ah.
And then the death scene is how people die in this movie, which is prosthetic hands
rubbing blood all over the actor's face, and the actor just like, oh.
And then each cut, it'll cut away to something else, and it'll cut back to the actor, and they'll have more fake cuts on their faces. They get like prosthetic cuts on their faces.
Yeah,
but it's just the hands are just like smearing around.
The hands,
ketchup, probably.
Hands
honestly.
with the seams down the sides because it's a latex prosthetic.
Yeah. Everyone else finds out that guy got murdered.
Yeah, so a cop with a fake mustache shows up. This cop looks like he's 20, maybe. It's a kid with a mustache on. And then here comes the best line in this movie.
Oh, it's when Duane gets back, and he tells, he's there with Sharon, but he's like, stay away, Sharon, because, God, what did he say? Oh, yeah. So the thief's name was O'Donovan. And Duane gets back, and there's cops and everything there, and they're like, O'Donovan's dead. I just love this. Duane turns to Sharon, and he's like, did you hear that? He killed O'Donovan. He'll kill you, too. And just, like, thinking of that from her perspective, like, who's O'Donovan?
Like, what?
And then she just throws her out of, like, the hotel.
Yeah.
And he runs back to his room, where the cop is there.
This cop is just like, he's doing good cop acting. Mm-hmm. He's asking him questions like, do you have any pets? Where have you been all day?
What's in the basket?
And then the cop opens the basket and nothing's in there.
Nothing?
Now at this point, there's some mystery shit in the gate. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
it's not even a hair in the gate. There's just some weird goop, just like crud in there.
Mm-hmm.
Belial actually was hiding in the toilet this whole time, not in the basket.
Duane's like, I'm sorry I went out with that girl. We'll always be together. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Belial's very mad that Duane left him alone.
Yeah, Belial, get over it, man.
So I guess to make up for it, Duane puts Belial back in the basket, and they both go to a bar, and Duane just gets hammered.
Oh, he gets so drunk, and it happens to be the same bar where Casey is. Mm-hmm. Sex worker Casey, who is a wonderful lady. I love her. She's
I know. I love Casey because Casey is like, here, we'll drink together, we'll hang out.
They get very drunk acty together.
Yes, drunk acting. Duane's drunk acting is not great.
It's very drunk.
I'm so messed up about a lot of things. And now this girl I've met, I don't know what's going on anymore.
So after they've hung out for a while and Duane is like
Shit-faced.
blackout drunk,
Yeah.
she asks, so what's in the basket? And he tells her his entire
Holy
backstory.
shit.
We find out everything we could have wanted to know about.
What's so
that
funny though
basket.
is first he tells her, and then we flash back and see a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Probably could have cut something off, but
It's fine.
yeah, he tells her that it's his brother in the basket.
It's his twin brother. They were conjoined twins.
Yep.
Yep.
And separate, and now he's in the basket, and he can telepathically communicate. And then we flash back to when they were born, which killed their mom.
Yes.
The birth killed their mom, as it happens. Mm-hmm. And then we jump to when they're 12 years old. The dad is pissed.
The dad doesn't want Belial. I'm guessing that's why he named him Belial. Mm-hmm. Name him after a demon.
And we flash to when they're 12 years old, and Belial is still attached to Duane.
Yeah, Belial stays attached to Duane for a long time. I didn't realize that was the case.
Mm-hmm. They like grew up with him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the dad is like, I have Duane as my son. That other thing is not even human.
They have a relationship that reminds me of Tywin and Tyrion.
Yeah.
Tywin is like, that's not a person, that's a demon monkey, and they killed my wife, and I will not acknowledge them as my son.
Sure.
I miss Game of Thrones.
So no doctor will do an operation, but the dad finds some shady doctors.
One of whom is a vet.
Apparently, we find out
Dr.
later.
Cutter
Dr.
is a
Cutter.
vet.
But yeah, it's Cutter, the lady, and Needleman, the Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, and
And
Lifflander.
Lifflander's there too, but I don't understand his whole connection because the dad is like, Lifflander found you guys. You guys are going to be the ones doing it. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't
That's the
matter.
conspiracy.
It doesn't matter.
So they do the surgery in the house, in the kitchen.
Yeah, because Duane comes downstairs and then they just snag him.
They get him.
They get him and they drag him into the kitchen where it's all prepped for surgery.
And this is like, it's an extended surgery scene. There's a lot of shots of them cutting Belial apart.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just removing the prosthetic.
It is funny that removing Belial essentially just ends up looking like taking the prosthetic off the side of this dude's body, but there's some blood
There's
on
a lot
there.
of blood and gore, so it looks cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
There's a lot of weird noises. It sounds like balloons being rubbed together, kind of, when they're slicing him apart.
Duane,
And then, oh man, this made me sad.
What?
So Duane wakes up hours later from surgery. He's all bandaged up. Belial's not there anymore. And then he can hear him. So he goes to look for him and he finds him outside in the garbage.
Yeah, they
threw
threw
him in the
Belial
garbage.
yeah.
But he's still alive. I guess everyone else thought he would have died.
I guess they should have
They
done their
should've
due
checked.
diligence.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to do this, do it all the way, I
But
guess.
yeah, so Duane finds Belial in the garbage
And
and
rescues him. And then, oh boy, this dad hears noises and wakes up
he
and goes
hears
down the
sawing
basement.
sounds.
Yeah.
From,
And he's just walking around forever.
it's just footage of this guy walking around for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is a long time for a guy just to be walking around in a basement checking spots in the basement.
And he winds up walking straight in front of like a buzzsaw on a battle bot at the top of a ramp.
It's very which Saw movie is it where is it like a dream sequence where she gets
That's
sliced
Saw
in
3D.
half
Yeah,
and
it's
it's like
just
the
like
big
that.
saw on the track?
Yeah, when she's in her
They
little
somehow
negligee.
build this together.
Mm-hmm.
Duane builds this while he's recovering from major surgery.
And then the dad just stands there in front of it as it comes down the ramp, and it
gets sliced
saws him in
in
half vertically, hot
Yeah.
dog style.
I guess they got revenge and they sawed him in half.
Yeah.
Just like he sawed them in half.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then their aunt, who had been watching over them, gets home and apparently is cool with them having killed her brother because she's like, the cops are
totally
gone.
get it,
I covered
guys.
for you. I'll take care of you.
Yeah, I made sure that none of this can be traced back to you. I know what you're going through and I understand why you had to murder your dad. What?
And my brother. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
And then she basically raises them. there's a shot of her reading them a book and Belial is on her lap, just
It's
like
amazing. It's an amazing shot of his little stupid prosthetic Bib Fortuna face looking up into nothing.
It's great.
It's amazing.
And then we see that she eventually dies. We see her funeral.
Yeah. And it happens when Duane is now current age Duane. So that probably kicked off their little murder spree against the doctors, which is what they've been up to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been, they got Liftlander in the beginning and they got Needleman a little bit ago. So now...
Yeah, so Duane's told Casey all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Casey gets him back home. Duane is super hammered and he almost falls asleep standing up.
Yeah.
But she gets him in bed.
We get to spend some time with Casey and it's... she goes back to her apartment. There are just smiley faces
Happy
everywhere.
faces everywhere. And it's the classic happy face.
Yeah.
Like trademarked, I think. Happy face.
The one that Forrest
Have
Gump
a nice
made.
day.
Yeah.
That one, yeah.
She goes into the bathroom and changes into a happy face shirt.
Yep.
There's this weird close-up of her taking her underwear off while she's wearing this long shirt. I don't know. You never actually see her naked.
No, it's
which
a very
was kinda
weird,
surprising.
not sexy scene.
She gets in bed and Belial's
been
in
hiding
the bed.
there.
Yeah, behind the pillows.
And he kind of he goes to grab her boobs.
Yeah, he starts to
He's
grope
like,
her.
finally.
Mm-hmm.
Belial doesn't understand consent.
No,
no
does
one has
not.
taught him consent.
He does not, as we'll see more of later.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
But she wakes up and finds him touching her boobs, and she freaks out and runs away.
Yeah.
And Belial steals her panties.
Great.
Belial's
We never see those again.
Nope, that's not a thing. It's just like, I guess Belial he's a frustrated...
he is sexually frustrated.
Yeah, especially because Duane's starting to get some now.
Yeah, I think he's just jealous.
Your twin brother's starting to experience the embrace of a woman, and you can't do that.
Yeah.
Of a woman is what I meant to say. I don't know what came out of my mouth, but
great.
of a woman.
Duane takes Belial the next day to Dr. Cutter, who's the lady doctor who's on that creepy date with that really young guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he pretends that in the basket there's just a big ass cat.
And she's like, okay, take your cat out of the basket. Or no, what's wrong with your cat? He's like, it has a bad gash on its side. Only it's not a cat.
Let's take a look at him.
Only it's not a cat.
I thought you
And
said...
I think I should explain how he got his cut before you see him.
She figures it out, and she's like I like her. She can't act worth a damn. Sorry.
No.
But I like her character. It's like this ruthless lady. Because when she realizes who he is, the person who she was told about, she's like, get the fuck out of here.
Get out of my office. I don't have time for this today. But Belial attacks her.
Yeah.
There's a pattern to this movie.
There's his face or his hands rub all around on her face. She does get...
This is good.
Yeah.
I like this a lot.
Because Duane and Belial get out of there, I guess, and her twins rush into the office to find her with a whole bunch of scalpels in her face.
Yeah.
This image is actually on the Blu-ray cover, her with the scalpels in the face.
It's one of the most... It stands out to me.
She gives a very long scream.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of those, like it's a close up on her face, scalpels in there, screaming as she like falls out of frame.
It's good makeup.
Yeah.
So Sharon, at this point, learns that Dr. Needleman's dead.
Yeah, I mentioned this earlier.
So my sense of time in this movie is really weird because I don't know how long it's been since Needleman got killed.
Feels like she should have known earlier, though.
Yeah, but
Whatever.
She's just finding out, and they start to kiss some more, and it's awful.
He very gingerly touches her breasts. It's like over the shirt, just like,
oh yeah.
One.
And I'm this whole time screaming because I do not want a sex scene in this. I can't handle these two actors trying to fake have sex. I don't want it.
She says, "Take me, Duane."
Yeah, no, and it sucks. I even just having her say that made me want to die.
Well, lucky for you, that's when Belial busts out of the
interrupts.
basket screaming.
Yeah. And Duane, to prevent Sharon from seeing Belial, wraps her up in a sheet, the bed sheet, and just shoves her out the door. It's
Shucks
so
her out the doorway into the
brutal.
hallway.
He just pushes her and she
fucking
hits the wall.
Yeah, with her face. But she's wrapped up like a little blanket burrito, so he can't even see.
So she tries to get back in, And
he's like, no, get out of here.
no, and then she runs home, and in the lobby she stops and turns around all dramatically and goes, Duane! And then keeps running.
Yeah.
Apparently Belial's eyes glow now.
Yep, that's a new fun trick.
That's new.
But it's nighttime, and Belial's eyes are glowing, and he yells out the window.
He does. He just out the window. Meanwhile, Duane falls asleep and is clearly having some crazy dreams
because
really restless
close-ups
sleep.
on his face while he's turning around in bed, and his dream is that he's running down the street naked.
Yeah.
Full frontal naked.
Ding dong. It's just
dong flopping around.
Yeah.
It's great.
And
that they did this.
Yes. Yeah, it's great to have a movie where you get to see dick before any boobs. I appreciate it.
This fucking kid actually had to do this.
I know.
Run down New York Street in the night, naked, no shoes or anything.
Oh.
I'm watching his bare feet as much as I'm looking at that dong because his fucking.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
That's so gross.
Yeah, you were distracted by the dong.
I
but
was.
he's got
I
his
was
bare
just
feet.
staring at his dick flopping
Yeah, this is my
around.
second time through. I can notice other things like his bare feet running down the sidewalk of New York City in 1982. Holy shit.
And also think about the fact that something this low budget, they don't have that street secured.
No.
They're not. This isn't a closed set. This is like,
Hell
okay,
no.
we got to shoot really quick before we get caught, which is how in film school I went to New York for a weekend to film a bunch of shit for my student film. That's exactly how we shot. Like, hurry up, set up, film, and then peace out so
Like
we don't get a ticket.
A real movie would have blockades on either
Yes,
end of
and
the
it's
block. And
so expensive.
Yeah.
It is so expensive to get shooting permits. So what I'm saying is this guy's just running down a street naked. There's no one keeping people from seeing him.
No.
It's crazy. I mean,
yeah, props to them for
Yeah.
making this happen. Props to that kid assuming he was fine with doing it and not like super pressured into it.
yeah.
Props for literally having the balls to do it.
Yeah. So naked Duane runs to Sharon's house.
I think this was the other thing that cemented me being like, this is a cult movie that's a classic. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like not every movie hangs dong, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we're first person POV where we are naked Duane.
Oh yeah.
And he goes into Sharon's house.
We're
and she's
naked
asleep.
Duane.
We're naked.
We're naked Duane.
He goes into Sharon's house and then she's sleeping. This whole scene's weird.
Yep.
I'm not quite sure what's going on.
Well, she's
Wikipedia
also naked.
offers an explanation.
Okay.
So he like pulls back the sheet and so we see her boob. She's naked and he just is like poking at her
Poking those boobs.
like he's an alien.
Poking the tittles.
Yeah.
The tiggles.
And then he's like grabbing them. And then he tries to rape her in her sleep.
And by he, we mean...
It's Belial!
It's Belial!
So because he communicates telepathically with Belial, so the dream was actually just seeing what Belial was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it makes sense that Belial's self-image would just be naked
Oh, we're getting
Duane.
that deep into it?
Because he's Dwayne's twin. He probably's like, I'm his twin. I look like that.
Okay,
but I'm
sure.
naked. I don't have any clothes on.
Yeah. Great.
Yep, that's my analysis of Basket Case.
Yeah.
So what I think happens here is...
Well, she wakes up and sees him.
Yeah, and he strangles her.
Yeah. Sharon dies.
I think what happens is he gets angry that he can't have sex.
Because he doesn't
have
the stuff.
Equipment.
Yeah.
Because he's just a face with arms. I don't know, man. I was very confused.
Especially because, Duane wakes up and realizes what's happening because of that telepathic communication. So he runs to her house, which I don't remember when he got her address or whatever, but whatever. He's there. He runs in there, and there Belial is sitting on her crotch. She's naked, and he's kind of rocking back and forth.
Yeah.
It's like he's trying.
He's trying. I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's blood everywhere.
There's blood everywhere.
I truly don't know what I'm looking at.
It's mostly what the fuck.
Yeah.
It's mostly just what the fuck. I feel uncomfortable in a what the fuck way rather than a like, here's a rape scene way.
Yeah.
You know?
Even though I still was like, oh man, like, are we?
Yeah.
A little bit. But then it gets so weird that I'm so distracted by the fact that it is what it is. Yeah. It's a lot of weird feelings.
It doesn't feel as gratuitous, I guess, as it could.
It would feel more gratuitous if we didn't just see Duane's dick for like a long time.
Sure, that helps. Yeah.
It's an exploitation film.
It's an exploitation film. They're just exploiting everything.
Yeah.
So I wasn't too bothered by it.
I think the reading of it I don't know. I think the reading that the internet offers makes me feel better about it.
It makes sense too.
Yeah, it does.
Belial first expresses rage when he's out on this date with her. Mm-hmm. Because he's experiencing that telepathic like thing that he can't have. Mm-hmm. And then he goes out and tries to get it for himself and he can't.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Duane comes in and finds that going on and is real mad at Belial. He takes him back home and he's like, never again.
So, how many times has this happened? Duane. He doesn't even seem that sad about his girlfriend.
Yeah,
he's just
he's
like,
less concerned
God
about
damn it.
Sharon and more concerned. Well, he's pissed at Belial. He's like, you'll never leave me alone.
But he's saying it's like a dog shitting on like carpet. It's not
Yeah.
like Belial just murdered someone.
That's very true. And they get into a fight.
I love when Belial fights people because it's just that person
holding the prosthetic against their face.
puppet
Yeah.
against their face. They fall out the hotel window. This is when all the neighbors can hear, so they're kind of watching this happen.
Another one of those things, yeah.
Yeah, all the extras come upstairs. And they're hanging from the Hotel Broslin sign. Belial has like one hand on the sign and is holding Duane's neck with his other hand. So Duane is just choking to death. And so he
Duane
dies.
chokes to death.
Yep.
And then they both fall to extra death.
Yep. They both just...
Which I'm assuming will get retconned in the sequels.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't have a basket case without Belial. And I would assume that whoever played Duane was down to be him again. I don't know. I'll have to watch it and find out. I know nothing about these sequels, except that the second one was made in 1990,
That's
which feels
so weird.
Weird to me to have this movie that much later.
Yeah.
Because this movie's like the thing that stands out to me the most
how
is the
80s
setting.
it is,
yeah, and how authentically 80s
how
New York
early
it is.
80s. Early
Yeah.
80s is really different than late 80s.
Definitely, and I strongly prefer it.
Yeah, same. So yeah, they both fall and die.
Yep.
In the canon of this movie, they fall and die.
Yes.
And it's I thought of King Kong.
Oh, no. It wasn't the airplanes. It was beauty killed the beast.
Is Duane the beauty?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because
pretty
Belial
boy.
was holding him.
Yeah.
And they fell.
That's basket case. Fucking watch it, dude.
Yeah.
This is when you're starting to get into like, oh, you know your horror movies. If you can whip out basket case, dude.
Yeah.
When you're talking to someone,
basket case is a random one.
they're gonna respect you for having that knowledge because this is another tier deeper down.
I think this is probably the deepest tier of horror that we've gone.
Along with like Toxic Avenger, I think.
Yeah, Toxic Avenger might be a little higher up.
A little more known.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like we're past the point of Leprechaun and Phantasm.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
You know, like we're in territory where like, congrats.
It's kind of hard to find this. You have to seek it out.
And I'm sure we can go deeper, and eventually we will.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, this is a place where I'm very comfortable being.
Yeah.
Because like enough people know this that are super into the genre that you can have a lot of fun conversations.
People were I tweeted that we were talking about this and people were very excited.
Yeah, because eventually we'll probably end up going too deep, find a movie that like, why even bother watching it if no one can fucking talk about it except for Eli Roth, because he'll fucking know it.
Yeah.
But this is like a sweet spot, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Again, it's just my favorite. I love just like dirty late 70s, early 80s. Love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Love
man.
it. Love it. All right.
Do we know what's next week? Maybe.
Possibly an interview. I'm not gonna say anything too
Okay.
specific.
Don't wanna jinx it.
Yeah, we're working on scheduling some stuff.
We got a lot of fun stuff coming up. It's a
Mhm.
fun month for us. A very tiring month, but it's the season.
Yeah.
We're getting through it and we're having some good stuff. Let us know if there are any other movies that you want us to review though for our movie reviews because
Mhm.
we love getting suggestions.
Also, would you guys hate it if we reviewed the Mummy movie that just came out? That like
the
new
Tom
one?
Cruise one? Let us know.
I really want to see it.
Yeah.
Especially because we just did a classic Universal monster.
I would probably want to watch the original Mummy. I might put on Brendan Fraser in the background. We just watched that like a year ago.
We did just watch that.
But like that movie's dear to my heart. And then I would watch that. Okay. Well, cool. Thanks for listening. Make sure you follow Dead Meat on social media at Dead Meat James on Twitter and Instagram.
I'm Carebeck, Carebecc on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want merch, deadmeatstore.com.
That's right. Leave a review and rate us on
Please
whatever
do.
app you're listening to us through, especially if it's Apple Podcasts. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
iTunes. You know, iTunes. But yeah, until next time, I'm James.
I'm Chelsea.
And this has been the Dead Meat Podcast.